I mean, as a kid, he did once set an entire forest on fire when he was playing with fire. I'm here to tell you some more weird stories about my grandpa. You guys seem to really like part 1, so here are more examples. One time, one of the houses behind his house caught fire. A flame had gotten in a pan and he wanted to extinguish it. The thing was, the house wasn't actually on floor level. Without thinking about it, he ran up to their shed, ran partially up a wall, grabbed the ceiling, jumped onto their balcony, jumped into their house, and then put a lid on the pot, extinguishing the fire. The fire department actually said that he shouldn't have done that because it was crazy dangerous. So when my mom and my aunt were little, they had a very annoying neighbor. It's one of those neighbors that is just plain out a jerk. He would have this really big dog that would poop everywhere on the field the kids would play at. So one day my grandpa was like, I want you to clean up the poop after your dog, drops it on the playing field because kids play there and they keep stepping in it. As the big jerk the neighbor was, he just went, oh, what are you talking about? Typically one of those people where you just can't say anything to. So one day the dog pooped like in front of their patio or something, and my grandpa was like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. He took one of those spade-like things that you use to use concrete to fill up a wall, and he scooped up the poop. So he yells at the jerky neighbor who is standing in his garden besides theirs. And as the neighbor turns around, my grandpa throws the poop over the fence to him, and instinctively he caught it. He caught the gigantic turd in his hands. A while later, the same jerky neighbor was having like a super loud party with his friends during midnight. My grandpa went over there to ask them to turn it down because, the kids were sleeping. Once again, he started yelling at him like, the thing was, one of the friends of the neighbor who was also there was this gigantic 2-meter dude who was actually known to have once lifted up a police car partly with the police still in it. And he just goes, oh, what do you want to do about it then? Want to find me? Which is of course rather terrifying because, so instead of backing down, my grandpa just goes, yeah, sure, let's fight right here, right now, you and me, come on, come outside. And the dude just comes outside and he's like, okay, that is a big dude, that's pretty scary. But he thought it was so cool, like the big guy thought it was so cool that someone finally stood up to him instead of being scared, that he was like, oh my god, you're so cool. And then from that point on, whenever he saw him, was like, hey dude, hey man, whatever. Okay, so that turned out fine. When my grandpa was a kid himself, he would sometimes sneak under the beds of his siblings and start scratching the mattress and everything and the springs. So he would make sounds like until they would scream in fear. Something he would also do during his own childhood is he would basically accompany his younger siblings to the bathroom because it would be dark and they'd be scared, so they asked him, their big brother, to like, hey, can you walk me to the bathroom? And he'd be like, sure. But then halfway through in the hallway, he'd freeze and go like, stand back. And they go, what's happening? He's like, shh, there's a wolf here. At the time, wolves were rather common in the Netherlands. What? There's a wolf here. Don't move. Shh. There's a wolf in the hallway. And then that was, of course, also a joke, and they would scream in fear. My grandpa had always had a love for insects and photographing them. So he would also have friends who have these very tropical insects in terrariums. The thing is, you know how sometimes someone goes on vacation, they're like, hey, can you babysit my cat? Can you babysit my dog? He would often babysit tropical insects. And it's not like he would go over to the house to feed them or everything. He would get them all in Tupperware boxes and take them home. My mom actually described scenarios where she was little and watching TV, and next to her, under the radiator, because they had to be kept warm, she just heard because they were these big insects that make a lot of weird noises. But those aren't the only tropical animals that he kept in their home. At some point he had this gigantic, very nice aquarium with tropical fish. The thing was, they were in front of the window, but they were so spectacular that a lot of people who they didn't even know would walk by and just stop and stare at their window So sometimes people would be coming downstairs and they would look, and there were just people staring at my grandpa's aquarium, just looking into their house as if that's not super creepy. Also, some of the things I said in previous video were actually wrong. I told you that he was target practicing with his bow and arrow on a target and accidentally shot his friend in the foot. I talked to him and this is apparently slightly different. The thing was, they actually had a target, but he was target practicing with blow darts. He had made his own blow darts with very long needles in them to just ram them right into the target. So his friend took the target further back, so he had more difficulty. But then when he shot the blow dart with the long needle right into his friend's leg. The thing of shooting someone in the foot with a bow and arrow, however, also happened. He and his friend both had a bow and arrow and they were practicing, and basically their game was to shoot right next to each other, which I feel is a rather dangerous game to play, but I'm not sure how old they were at the time. Thing was, my grandpa was already very good at bow and arrow, but then his friends started to purposely shoot into his direction for fun. My grandpa was like, are you mad? Are you just not right in the head? What are you doing? And he kept doing it, so my grandpa just went and shot him right in the heel on purpose. Simply because he was shooting into his direction. He was like, you gotta stop now. and he shot him right in the heel. Lastly, I also told you about the bow and arrow and how he accidentally shot a pigeon out of the air because he wanted to aim like right next to it as a joke. Apparently the real story was different. He was standing outside talking to another neighbor at the time, a nice neighbor. And the neighbor was like, oh my god, no, that's that stupid pigeon that always poops all over our laundry when we hang it outside. So my grandpa just goes to his brother like, fetch me my bow. Because his brother was visiting and he walks away, gets him his bow, and he gets him the bow, and just within few seconds, he shoots the pigeon out of the air, dead on purpose. Wow! So those were even more weird stories about my grandpa. And because of all the stories I keep hearing from family, there might even be a part 3 soon. But please let me know down below in the comments. Has one of your relatives once done something super weird? And if you want comedy videos twice a week into your subscription box, consider subscribing. Every Wednesday I post a comedy sketch video, and every Saturday I post something to get to know each other a little bit better. During July I also post 2 other videos a week, but that is now over. I do all of this because I want to light up your day and try and make you smile, because I believe smiling and laughter and positivity actually increases your life. But above all, I really hope you like this video, and I would love to see you next time.